So, we were saying that in the parliament, Dr. Nirmala Sitharaman, finance minister, uh, said the approach difference is that they are following not just a slogan but the ideology of Sabka Vikas, Sabka Prayas. And then she went into Jan Dhan Yojana, which is very popular. She went on how focus had been created on health through the Ayushman scheme. She commented on the UPA that they used to call Garibi Hatao, and actually the NDA regime had actually achieved those objectives. So then she goes on to a number of socio-economic objectives, as well as infrastructure things in terms of what has happened. She graphically explains this as that the previous government from 2004 to 2014 used to give post-dated checks, which were then never cashed. That means a lot of promises, but ground reality is not there. Now she talked about how these changes are happening. She says their approach is transformational. A number of things has been transformed. Okay, and rather than the slogans that ये मिल जाएगा, ये हो जाएगा, तो इनका their approach is मिल गया. Okay, and so all the members of MP started singing with मिल गया. So they talked about the PM Awas Yojana for housing for the poor. किसी ने बोला था मिल जाएगा, लेकिन इन्होंने बोला मिल गया. Then of course numbers we can talk about. Toilets मिल गया. Highways मिल गया. Bridges मिल गया. Ports मिल गया. Airports मिल गया. So as I said, then we can talk about factual numbers. But this is where the approach is that all such things which were said earlier that will be made available have been converted into availability. Then money for the Kisan and MSMEs, credit, Sasti Dawaiyan, that means cheap medicines through those outlets which have now become 9,300, 50 to 60% lower price. Rations to more people, cheaper. And there is actual delivery of all these things. Now, we talk some numbers. Crop loans have increased to 10.9 lakhs. The foreign exchange, which was in 2014 $313 billion, has increased to $600 billion. Now we have to kind of grasp these figures. There are some nuances, of course. So as we go along, as we go forward, we can think how the economy can absorb the pressures or emergencies or advanced developments of different kind where long-term monies can be bought. Now, in terms of the exports of defense items, 2014, so that's the datum, and then talking about now, 2023, it was 1092 crores. So now it has gone up to 16,000 crores. Now 16,000 crores is not much, but then it is 16 times or 15 times what it was in 2014. Food production from 265 million tons to 323 million tons. Some of us who remember the 1960 era, where because of multiple droughts, excess rains, we had really become short of grains. And there was bhukmari, and we had to take grains from USA. And how demeaning it was, because the cartoon which New York Times used to publish was showing India as a Bhikhari, and with a hand like this, and PL 480, that was the Public Law 480 of USA, under which they gave us grains and took rupees for it, which were kept in India to be spent. And those rupees itself created a lot of disturbance in the Indian economy and society. So from that, maybe at that time 50 million tons, we are 323 million tons, which is one of the largest productions in the world. of food grains. So India is important. Now pulses, which used to be the high protein, which used to be lesser, uh, at about 1.5 lakh metric tons in 2014, have gone up about 70 times to 82 lakh tons. Of course, pulses are also more expensive everywhere in the world. They want it. And then the Kisan ethanol production, from 38 crore liters to 434 crore liters. So that is more than 10 times. Tap water, from availability to 8.2 crore families to increasing to 12.7. Awas Yojana, 1.79 crore units to 2.9 crore units. Universities, 730 in 2014 to 1103, 1103 now. Therefore, average, if you see, the government added 44 new central universities per year to the existing one. Airports, 148 now. Waterways, 111. There were none. These are navigable waterways using rivers like Ganga, etc. Now 111. So road traffic gets reduced, and waterways, as we know, is actually the cheapest form of transportation. So it was not developed earlier; it's getting developed now. Our global ranking was 10th in terms of economic size in 2014. It's 5 now, and another 5-10 years likely to become number 3, along with USA and China. We've already beaten Italy and UK, Spain, etc. So Germany is still ahead of us, which is very low differential now, and Germany is not growing much. So our social indicator, the maternal mortality rate, that is the social factor, has gone down from ranking 167 to 97, though there is much more work to be done here. So now we talk about number of ways, but she talked quite a bit about the UPA. I don't want to be negative about it, but I can talk about the UPI. Now, UPI not only has become successful in India, IMF has praised it, and countries like France and Singapore and Canada, Hong Kong, USA, UAE, UK are also adopting our UPI so that it becomes seamless transactions. As far as startups are concerned, of course, there has been a major increase. Unicorns from 4 at that time to 16 now, that means billion-dollar companies. Then world-class digital infrastructure, direct benefit transfers, which was 7,000 or so in 2014, have gone up to 7 lakhs 16, 7.16 lakh crores. Fantastic increase. So using the digital technology to create a seamless transaction system, and the digital transactions in a year are, believe it or not, 670 crores in a year. 670 crores. That means on an average, each citizen is doing transaction at least 5-6 times. Every city, on an average. Of course, we take out children, we take out other people, then it would be far more. Now let's talk a bit more about education. Medical colleges increased from 700 to 1,340. Their seats increased from 82,000 to 1.52 lakhs in a year. Number of AIMS increased to 23. She then gave a detailed example of Madurai AIMS, which is coming up because some question had been raised by an MP from Tamil Nadu, and she talked about how the project, which is of the size of 1,062 crores, has more seats than any other place. It is being fully funded by government, but government can take loans, so they have taken JICA loan, which they will be remitting. So to state government, it doesn't cost anything. Normally they provide land, and so this is just an example of how courageous the thinking is. And as far as free rations are concerned, about 80 crore people maximum in the world are receiving it, and plus the low cost medicines. So basically, therefore, the people below the poverty line are being looked after. IMF, in a working paper in 2022, have complimented this quite a lot.